The moment my boss stood at the edge of the cold, trembling water and made that reckless promise, something inside me snapped awake, something that had been drowning quietly for years. I was tired of being invisible, tired of surviving instead of living, tired of letting fear decide how small my life would stay. When he laughed and told me that if I beat him in a swim he would reward me with one night, I didn't hear temptation. I heard a challenge. And when I answered that I wanted more, I wasn't asking for his body. I was asking for my worth. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us we are stronger than we think. Your support keeps these stories alive and reaching hearts that need them. My name is Nathaniel Brooks, and this happened in a small coastal town in California where the ocean always looks calm from a distance but punishes anyone who underestimates it. I worked as a maintenance supervisor at a private resort, the kind of place where rich guests came to escape their problems while people like me cleaned up the evidence of their happiness. My boss, Christopher Hale, was the kind of man who had never doubted himself a single day in his life. Tall, confident, born into money, and convinced the world owed him admiration. To him, I was reliable but replaceable, a background figure in a life he believed was a movie starring only himself. Swimming had once been my refuge. As a teenager in Florida, before my father passed and my family fell apart, the water was where I felt weightless and free. But adulthood had a way of burying old passions under bills, grief, and exhaustion. I hadn't swum seriously in years, not since moving west and taking the first job that would keep the lights on. That day at the resort, a charity swim event was being set up, and Christopher, eager to impress donors, boasted about his athleticism. When he challenged me publicly, it felt like a joke at my expense. Yet something in his careless confidence reignited a fire I thought was gone. The challenge spread through the staff like electricity. People laughed, some cheered, others warned me quietly not to humiliate myself. Christopher trained loudly and publicly, posting about his morning swims and protein shakes. I trained in silence. Every night after my shift, I drove to an old public pool an hour away, the kind with flickering lights and peeling paint, and I swam until my muscles screamed. With every lap, I wasn't racing my boss. I was racing the version of myself that had accepted being small. The night before the swim, I barely slept. Memories of my father teaching me to float, to trust the water instead of fighting it, kept replaying in my mind. He had believed in me with a gentleness I hadn't felt from anyone since. I realized then that what I wanted from this challenge wasn't revenge or validation. I wanted my life back. I wanted proof that I could still choose courage over comfort. The ocean was colder than I expected that morning. The sky was pale, the crowd buzzing with anticipation. Christopher smiled like a man certain of his victory. When we entered the water, the shock stole my breath, but then muscle memory took over. Stroke by stroke, I found my rhythm. The world narrowed to the sound of water and my heartbeat. Halfway through, I felt the burn, the doubt, the voice that told me to slow down, to settle. Instead, I thought of all the years I had swallowed my pride, all the times I had been overlooked, and I pushed harder. By the time my fingers touched the buoy marking the finish, I knew. I had beaten him. The cheers felt distant, unreal. Christopher emerged moments later, stunned, his confidence cracked for the first time. He congratulated me stiffly, and though he tried to laugh it off, something fundamental had shifted. I didn't ask for what he had promised. I told him I wanted more responsibility, more trust, and the chance to be seen for what I could contribute. I wanted growth, not favors. The weeks that followed were uncomfortable. Christopher avoided me at first, then watched me more closely. Slowly, begrudgingly, he began to respect me. I was offered training, then a managerial role. The staff treated me differently, not because I had won a race, but because I had shown what was possible when fear was challenged. More importantly, I treated myself differently. I swam every morning now, not to prove anything, but to remember who I was. Life didn't magically become perfect. I still had lonely nights and moments of doubt. But something fundamental had healed. I had learned that standing up for yourself doesn't always look loud or angry. Sometimes it looks like quiet determination, like choosing self-respect over easy rewards. Christopher eventually apologized in his own awkward way, and while we would never be friends, we became equals. Years later, standing at that same shoreline, I watched my niece Hannah learn to swim, her laughter echoing over the waves. I told her to trust the water, to trust herself. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I realized that the night I had asked for more had given me exactly that. More courage. More purpose. More life. Before this story ends, please comment below and share what asking for more means in your own life. Your words might inspire someone who feels stuck right now. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own quiet battles and hidden strength, please like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps these stories reach the people who need hope the most. And remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is demand more from life, not because you are greedy, but because you finally believe you are worthy.